Ken Trahan, Lenny Vangilder. It's the First NBC Weekend Preview. Happy Easter, one and all, and hope you have a wonderful, blessed weekend with family this weekend, as we all trust we will do. Not the best of times for the New Orleans Saints. Sean Pamphilon, documentary filmmaker, releasing audio, seems to be very convictive, if you will, of Greg Williams. And Lenny, obviously the timing of this is peculiar since it came on the day that Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis were to meet with Roger Goodell.
Exactly. You have to wonder about the timing, what the motivation of it is, and that is the concerning part. The majority of the content, you and I have been around Saints practices. You've listened to Greg Williams. I don't think that we're necessarily hearing a lot of things in there that we wouldn't ordinarily hear from Greg Williams in the tone of how he would speak and what you would expect to hear a coach telling his team the night before a game. There are a couple of excerpts in there when you talk about, going after ACLs and going after concussion symptom type players and those types of things. That is what's concerning. There's been some denials already out there about whether he actually is offering his own money for a hit on Alex Smith, that kind of thing.
That's implied. It's not said. It's implied.
Yes, and that is when Pamphilon put this video out there, said he was basically doing this with his fingers to where to say, hey, this is the money. And, but obviously all you're hearing is audio, but you have other people that are trying to shoot that down. But still, for the most part, I don't think it's anything we would not have ordinarily have heard from Greg Williams, but considering everything that has happened up until now and some of those other things, it's certainly questionable.
So why does it come out today? You know that this has been out there. Was this calculated on the part of the NFL?
I don't know. Some people have suggested maybe it was calculated on the part of the Saints trying to make Greg Williams out to be this rogue coach out there.
Right.
But who knows at this point? What we do know is that the appeal is going on. I think as much as anything else, appeal might not be the right word. It might be more about a clarification of this thing. Could penalties change? Possibly. I doubt it. But what we may get is a little more of a clarification of what Sean Payton, can and can't do when and at what point.
Lesson: be careful who you give access to, right? Documentary filmmaker, and ostensibly is there to do a documentary on Steve Gleason. It's a good story. The Saints have treated Steve Gleason well. He's a wonderful man in person. And if you're there for that purpose, why in God's green earth would you release this kind of audio publicly?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Malcolm Jenkins has called Pamphilon out on Twitter this morning. And based on, again, we're only hearing one side of this, just very briefly, what we know at this point. Maybe we don't know the whole story, but the little bit we do know, I think Malcolm Jenkins hit the nail right on the head.
No question about it. Hornets, of course, getting Eric Gordon back. And, hey, listen, it's good to see him play again. He helped them win a game. And clearly just to see him and evaluate him the rest of the way and maybe audition for next year, since Monty Williams says that he'd perhaps like to stay here, is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're a different team with Gordon on the floor, and they are getting healthier. This is a team, you take Gordon out of the equation, and they've still been beset by injuries over the course of this year. Just about every one of their main cogs has missed games because of injury. And you get the best of those players back, and Gordon, down the stretch, it brings the the question to mind. Just how much do you want to see this team do in the last 3 weeks of the season? Could they be hurting themselves for down the road? Hampering their opportunity, what they may get in the lottery.
Yeah, but Timberwolves beat up and they're losing games, so I guess that's not a bad thing. But then the other story concerning the Hornets, David Stern talking about ownership. Imminent. It's going to happen soon. We've heard this before, but now he's mentioning 3 groups. We don't have any idea what the third would be.
Exactly. We'll have to wait and see. We thought this thing would be done by now. It's not. Hopefully it gets resolved before the end of the regular season.
Yep, no doubt. And then, of course, where college baseball is concerned, LSU continuing its series with Florida. Started a night early because of Easter. Huge series for the Tigers, and of course they were great against Arkansas last weekend.
They were, and this is big. I mean, I think you don't want to go down there and get swept. 1 would be, good. 2 would be great. And, Paul Maneri's team trying to, maybe put themselves, in a solid position. Obviously, a long way to go in the SEC, but you start thinking about you want to be in that top 3 or 4 in the league, so you could be in a regional host position. Who knows? Maybe even a top 8 seed. So they've got some challenges. They've got to play Florida on the road. They've got to play Kentucky on the road, who's number 1 in one of the polls this week. End of the year, they've got to play South Carolina on the road. Those might be the 3 best teams in the Eastern Division for sure.
Just a brutal schedule. Finally, the Voodoo at home against Tampa Bay, a division rival, coming off of a big win at Utah. Still looking for that elusive first home win, and you wonder if it's ever going to happen. This would seem to be the time.
Yeah, you would think a little momentum after the game last Saturday. Yeah, a little bit of a short week, but still, sooner or later, the jinx, if you will, has got to get broken.
Lenny, it's always a pleasure. You have a great weekend. Happy Easter to you and yours.
Happy Easter. We'll see you Monday.
All right. This has been our First NBC Weekend Preview from First NBC Bank. For Lenny Vangilder, I'm Ken Trahan. Happy Easter, one and all. God bless.